right. Welcome back, everyone. Honolulu Blue Breakdown. We're back. We're better. We're coming off a win. We're going to break down the Lions win. We're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about injuries. We're going to talk about everything Lions. Give you a little teaser a little bit later in the episode. We got a sponsor for you guys. So if you're looking at buying or selling a house, you'll want to stick around and see what we got for you in store a little bit later. We got a sponsored segment for you, so make sure to check that out. But you guys, last week we were stressing. We weren't feeling very good. Are we feeling better, or is it just kind of a new pain? Where are we at?
I mean, we did what we had to do, right? Like at the end of the day, we had to score points. We did that. Our defense had to get a couple takeaways. We did that. And granted, the Dallas defense have not been the cream of the crop the last month or two. We proved ourselves that we're still worthy of being in the playoff race. And here we go. 1 month to go.
I feel a lot better. Obviously, still alive. It would have been a way different vibe today had we lost. I think the big things here were, the turnovers. Getting turnovers is always the key to success. And then, the pressure on deck. We got how many sacks and what should have been maybe sort of a safety as well. That was great to see. And I feel like that was a lot of it. And the O-line, you know what? They did the rotational guard between Colin and who's the new Frazier.
Yeah.
And he did good. He did good for his first snaps in the NFL. So I don't know. Things are looking up now. We have a very difficult road ahead of us still.
Yeah,
I'm not really holding my breath, to get into the playoffs. Obviously that's like the dream, and if we get hot, then we get hot. But no, it's just fun to be in a position now where there's different ways to squeak in.
Yeah, it felt a little bit more back to normal. We at the beginning of the game, it was kind of back and forth a little bit, but then once we built up that cushion that was more than one score, we were just able to kind of keep it there. The Cowboys would kick a field goal, we'd kick a field goal. We just were able to kind of keep that buffer, and that felt good. That felt back to where we were last year. You could tell we were feeling the home crowd, and just kind of a game. The guys knew they were better than the Cowboys, and really just got back to doing what we need to do. You mentioned the pressure, Jordan. That was really good to see.
That was definitely it was fun. It was a fun game Thursday night. Got a little extra rest too going now to the West Coast. So things should be up, although big loss not only for the rest of this year, but probably most of, if not, the beginning of next year as well, with Brian Branch going down with an Achilles.
Yeah, that one's brutal. I mean, obviously I'm not a doctor. I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night though, so maybe, but from what I hear is he tore his Achilles. He didn't rupture it, which is maybe a little bit better. A rupture might be something more like he's out all of next year, whereas maybe a tear, obviously, depending on the severity and how the surgery went. Dan said the surgery did go well, but maybe that's, more like 10 months. I don't know. We'll see. But that was the only slightly good news. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have some work to do in the offseason to kind of get a safety, because we can't, depend on Branch right away.
Yeah.
I will say one thing, with it being on Thursday on Amazon Prime. I love Prime Vision. I don't know if you guys watch that stream or the regular one, but it's awesome just being behind, kind of in the bird's eye view. I spent a lot of time watching Hutch just to see, because we've kind of been railing on him a little bit the last couple of weeks, or I have at least. And I kind of wanted to see how the teams adjusted to him and how he played. And you could always see them move over their running back to his side and chip him. And then he a lot of times would spend kind of looking to see who else was double teaming him. And it really did open up things for Muhammad. And then when they were blitzed, Branch or something, or Barnes.
Yeah, they like to send those backers. Yeah, that's cool. I think I flipped through both, and then I just saw that it was recorded in Prime Vision too. So I actually had that on a little bit today. this
Oh,
morning
nice.
for our snow day. I watched just a handful of plays, but it is very cool. I was like showing Thane, I'm like, hey, look, it's like Madden, you know, like you're basically watching the video games and watching their routes develop, and it's pretty neat.
Well, let's flip over to the offense here. Let's talk about this. Are we back? Is the offense fixed, or is Dallas just a bad defense?
That's a great question, Troy. I mean, I think both can be true, honestly. Like, you kind of need to play a defense like that to kind of get back into your rhythm. The biggest thing for me, we stuck to our running game, and Montgomery had some nice runs, a couple good drives, kind of, making them a little bit longer. So I love seeing that, getting a balanced offense with running, and sticking with the run always helps. Not just our team, but I mean any team, right? But and I know I keep talking about it too. I Tesla had a couple receptions, another touchdown, and I'd like to keep that going for him. Not that I don't think he needs 6 to 8 targets a game, but give him 3 to 5 targets a game, see what happens, and kind of opens things up a little bit more. Maybe he draws a safety here and there. So I think the more he can get involved, the better off our offense is going to be, especially with, our tight ends, keep going out too. So, I like what we saw. And the crazy thing was, how many fourth downs did we go for? 0, which there wasn't really any that I thought we should have. So we didn't really get into that situation, which is probably a good thing, right? So, yeah, it was fun to watch that again.
I like the Tesla take because, I think we all know, especially since the preseason, I'll even say, like, he's definitely got that red zone threat ability. And we've seen, he's a touchdown catcher. If we can get him, working the middle of the field or something like that, and the whole drive long, that might be nice with the absence of Laporta. That could be kind of that missing piece this offense needs. And you know what? The O-line, I think that just giving Goff, even if it's a half second or second more, that was maybe even more noticeable this game. Being able to get to his reads and putting the ball where the guys can get it.
Yeah, Goff was he was back to normal. I mean, really efficient. You mentioned the Monty and Gibbs thing, Matt, and that was good to see. I feel like we're kind of back to, you can kind of see the carries versus the yards here. Monty was much more efficient than Gibbs, which kind of made me think more. It's like, man, Monty had that one long touchdown run. Just kind of want to still see more of him. I mean, Gibbs, he showed with his catching that he can still be super versatile and affect the game in many different ways. I also just wanted to shout out JMO and Amon-Ra. I mean, first for Saint, just coming off the injury, just being back to his normal self. I really never saw any lingering effects of that injury. I mean, just tough as nails. And JMO had like 3 or 4 huge catches on third down, kind of crossing the field. I mean, he just was coming up clutch. So that was awesome to see as well. So just both of those guys really clicking, and it's good to see both of them. It seems like this year it's been kind of one or the other. So it's good to see them both getting involved. And then, yeah, that left guard rotation was exciting. I liked Frazier. I thought he played good.
Yeah, I was kind of, we'll get into it with your, I don't know if it's game theory or whatever with PFF grades, but
Yeah.
I know he had a couple penalties. Obviously, it's his kind of first game playing, but I liked what I saw. I didn't really look into the, call it the all 22 or whatever to kind of see how he protected and, what got past him. But I think he could be one of our staples on the O line over the next couple of years, honestly. He's coming off an injury, give him an off season. I think, him alongside good old Tater, I think that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, next year is really interesting with the O-line. You got Mahogany might even come back here in the next week or two as well. You got Frazier.
That's right.
I'm
I
not sure.
forgot about him already.
Yeah.
He practiced today.
Ragnow, Decker, Graham, like, do we have them all still next year? Not like, we don't know.
Yeah.
It could be
I don't know if you guys saw Did you see Ragnow had an interview with Dave Burkett, and he's said, or not Ragnow, Decker, and about his future. And it sounds like he's kind of up in the air you know, what he'll
he was
do. So
unsure a little bit.
maybe him and Ragnar are tied together.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I don't know. When you're making millions of dollars, though, it's like you can keep going. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I feel like he is kind of in the same boat last year too. So to your point, Jordan, maybe if Ragnar comes back, he'll for sure be back. And maybe it is on more of like a rotational basis too. I mean, left tackle, it's super important. And if he's not 100%, let's throw someone in there to kind of get in and, every 2 or 3 snaps and I don't know, see what happens. But yeah, he's, we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, he said it hurts to like take a cup out of the shelf to like lift his shoulder up, which is,
Oh
my gosh,
that's tough.
that's pretty crazy.
But yeah, I guess flipping over to the defense, talk about that a little bit. Yeah, our pass rush looked good. Turnovers were back. That was good to see. That really helps. Other than that, I mean, yeah, bye Brian Branch, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. It wasn't anything flashy, I don't think, but we made enough stops, especially in the red zone. We held him to, I don't remember how many field goals he had, being Aubrey, but yeah, I mean, we kind of again did what we needed to do, and that's the name of the game. If we can get 2 picks or at least 2 turnovers, whatever. Obviously, you're probably not going to get that every game. But if you can find a way and our offense plays close to what they did, you can win any game, right? So that's the name of the game. Branch is a big that hurts a lot. I know we signed a couple guys. Hollett, I think it was. We got him back on the practice squad, and I forget the guy. I think he was dropped from Cleveland earlier this year. But yeah, it's we'll see if we can build upon that.
Yeah, they just picked up a safety. I can't remember his name either. Shoot,
Jalen Mills
is a guy with the green hair. I remember him on the Eagles because he always had the bright green hair. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, we know kind of what the secondary has been and what it's going to now be too. Definitely is the biggest question mark on the defense. But just seeing the D line get involved in the turnovers gives me hope. Like, okay, we can still do it. We haven't seen it in a handful of games really, but that was nice to see because the Cowboys offense was the number 1 offense, going into that game, yardage wise. So, we hung with our offense played good and defense stepped up, special teams. I'm sure we'll get to that in a second too, but it was good.
Yeah, speaking of stepping up, I mean, DJ Reed, it seemed like all night was getting burned. And then right at the end, when we needed a play, he got that big interception. So, he was kind of one where early in the year really played well. And then coming back from the injury, he just hasn't seemed the same. But yeah, him getting that pick really was huge. And maybe that's a sign of things to come. Obviously, we're going to need it with Terry on out and now Branch. So that's the key. I think one thing I'm a little curious about Shepard with this defense, I wonder if he's being a little more aggressive, knowing that in the past, playing a little more conservative, kind of letting them bleed you down the field and trying to hold them is maybe what he was trying to do. But now with all the injuries, it's like, let's just go for it. Let's blitz. We might get burned. It might backfire. But if you can get that one big play, stop them a couple times, that might be all our offense needs. So I wonder if there's a little changing of strategy there.
Yeah. I mean, we got to the quarterback, I felt like, more than we have in 6 weeks. Yeah. And like you said earlier, Hutch was I mean, he's always double teamed basically every other play, so that helps open up Muhammad. And I'd like to see McNeil get a little bit more pressure up the middle. But I think that'll come along. It's not going to happen every game, but yeah. And I think you have this note here, which I love. Jack Campbell just continues to dominate. Like, he'll pass rush too. And he's just such a versatile player, and he's so big that, I think he's going to be one of the best linebackers over the next 5 to 10 years. So
special teams, game theories, PFF grades on here are a little surprising to me. I think you kind of alluded to this, Matt, with the bottom PFF grades. Miles Frazier was actually the worst, which kind of shocked me. Maybe it's just because he played such few snaps and had a couple penalties. That's why he got such a bad grade. But yeah, that was surprising. I don't really even remember Nowoski playing. So, and then, Alim and Amik's not surprising. I guess he got beat up a little bit. Alim, I didn't notice him playing bad, but those PFF grades, sometimes you never really know what the secret formula is, but thought they were interesting. The big thing here, though, Tom Kennedy, is he our guy?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Jeez.
He was so much fun to watch. It's like every freaking time he took off, man, he was, you never know. That could have been the reason we won the game, honestly. Like, we were, I don't know how many times we punted, but when you're starting out at the 40 to 50 every single drive, like that's kind of how it felt. And when you have to go 50 yards versus 80 yards, that's a huge difference. That's 2 or 3 third downs that you potentially have to get through. So I mean, and plus when he's been in at the tight end spot this year too, he's got some hands. So yeah, love the guy.
Yeah, I like him on the roster. And like you said, Matt, especially with this team, although it didn't happen in this game against the Cowboys, but when you're starting off near midfield, you're playing with a little extra money there. You got, Dan Campbell's going to go for it on 4th and 3 more than likely at the 50-yard line, or even maybe a little bit before then, before he gets into their territory. So that was definitely huge. I think a very underrated part of the game. It's easy to talk about the offense and defense, but that was definitely, I think a lot of people did take notice to Tom Kennedy in his returns. So yeah, talk about this game theory here, because there was some it's kind of a bad officiated game all around.
Yeah, we had the overturned safety. Then there was the free play, which wasn't a free play that Goff thought it was.
Yep,
and then the offensive pass interference. I mean, that one helped us, but
yeah, that was he kind of was biting my tongue there, like, oh,
yeah,
we got
I
one
know.
there.
Yeah, and I'll be, so here's my thoughts on kind of the calls or non-calls, whatever. I could live with the safety not being a safety. So close. I thought they would have kept it only because that's what they called on the field. But the last angle that they showed, I could get on board with saying, okay, not a safety. Thank God it was still 4th down and they punted to us. But the free play that was not a free play, like that blew my mind that they didn't throw a flag there. I feel like, 99 times out of 100, that's a flag. So that one frustrated me a lot. And then at the end of the game, it didn't decide the game, but the PI or non-PI, whatever you want to call that, like that was, I don't know. I don't feel bad about it, and again, it didn't, make the game flow one way or another, but yeah, it balanced it out, if anything.
Yeah, I went crazy on the safety when they overturned it. I'm not gonna lie, and they did show, it was clear from the one angle, but not from the other, and it's just so hard to you slow it down in super slow motion and take these shots from where we think is the most accurate line of sight, and it's just that looked like a safety. His whole body was in except for the ball, essentially, his feet, everything. Just crazy when you break that down. And the funny thing about all this, because it was a pretty poorly officiated game, I think, overall, no one remembers, because the next 2-3 days later there's even worse egregious calls and we move on. Something's got to give. I feel like we talk about it more and more, and now that the cameras are getting better with slow-mo and review and all this and all, and then they call New York, and then you got these expert analysts coming on to the broadcast and saying the opposite things. They got to figure something out, because it's getting pretty, especially with gambling and everything that people are, sports betting is so popular right now. It's getting pretty bad.
Yeah, especially with all the money the NFL has, they can afford to pay the officials to make them full time. I mean, It's
Yeah.
crazy. The only thing I don't like about the safety is the whole forward momentum thing. Like trying to say that he was, because it never looked like he was going forward at any point. Like, yeah, they might have hit him. And if you stop the play at a certain spot, the ball's outside the goal line. But usually that's for like if you're trying to move forward and your momentum stopped and you get pushed back. But he was just kind of like always being pushed back. That's the only thing that kind of bothered me there. But I guess it happens. The one thing I will say, Dan Campbell, we've talked about this in the past, his timeouts at the end of the half were really good. He used them to get that one drive back, which the Lions then turned into a Bates field goal. So that was really impressive. I thought that was a good job there, getting us a kind of stealing a possession. Bates was good. He did have one kick blocked, unfortunately. So that's kind of becoming a little bit of a thing. He's had a few of those blocked this year. Obviously, that's not his fault, but maybe something to kind of pay attention to. He's more likely to have it blocked than just miss one.
Yeah. Before we move on, PFF grades, Miles Frazier, does I would assume the penalties take it into account for that grade?
I would assume so too. I can't think of why else it would be so low.
Yeah, because I know he had 2 false starts, right?
Yeah.
So I would think that his score would be a lot better. Again, I'd like to, I guess maybe it'd be kind of cool to see every single snap, when he was in. Because Cologne, I know he had a couple good plays kind of rotating back into the game later, but they kind of pulled him earlier. So oddly enough, I don't know. It's just kind of a note that I was thinking about after the game.
Yeah. No, what's key here is look at who's top. The number 1 grade, Avante Maddox, that becomes extremely important in the next couple of weeks because he is the Brian Branch replacement. Yeah.
He was flying around. I really appreciated his effort, and he was making tackles behind the line of scrimmage, coming down on like screen passes, blowing up and run. Like he did well. I think he got a lot of tackles. I don't know if you had that in the defensive box or not, but I definitely noticed him in the game, and that's what we need is for people to step up there.
Yeah, the only last note I'll have here is like I think we can stop with the Dan Skipper at wide receiver. Like that's not gonna work. Like
that's so bad.
Like I don't know who we're trying to trick, even if by somehow we got the ball out to him. Like I don't know what he's gonna do. Maybe he'll be able to get 5 yards. It's not like even if they didn't guard him, it's not like he's gonna bust a 40-yarder.
It's like he can fall forward for 1, 2, or 3 yards, maybe.
Yeah, that was a tough, like, oh my gosh, we didn't just waste a play, did we? Yes, we did. Yeah. Well, I get what Goff was trying to do, just because at first he literally had no one on him, but then he kind of motioned back to Goff, and by then it was too late, and you had to run with it, and by that time, the brick hands come out, and here we are. So.
He's so goofy looking out there too. Like what?
I do love Dan though.
He's
like
giant.
Yeah. I got nothing but love for the guy, but I don't think he's gonna be running 20-yard touchdowns in after a catch.
Well, the next slide is injuries. So let me set this up for you guys. So what I did here was I tried to compare last year to this year because obviously we've had a lot of injuries. And we've talked about this a little bit in the past. So you see 2024, essentially all of our injuries were on defense. And we kind of got into that spot where it's like we just need to outscore everyone because we can't stop anyone. This year, the bad part is we've had a mixture of both. Now, I just noted the guys who are kind of like, first or second teamers, kind of key guys. Obviously, the depth roster guys, we've had a ton more injuries, and every team has those. So you kind of see where we've had defense and offensive injuries. That's where it's really affected us because both sides of the ball have been hurt. And then in the middle, I tried to find a comparison between us and other teams. And it got pretty difficult because if you start looking at games missed, kind of those depth guys really kind of skew the stats. You have a random player missed 16 games. That's kind of hard to tell how important they are. But on Spotrac, I found this stat, which is basically if a guy missed a game, how much money, is that comparative to his salary? And so that's where you see the money here, where injuries missed with salary. So obviously if you have a high salary player miss a game, it's going to hurt you worse, which might, the Lions have a lot of guys on rookie scales who missed games, like last year, Hutchinson would have been on a rookie contract. But last year, the Lions were 7th. This year, they're 11th. So they're not the worst. But again, it could be skewed. The Cardinals are number 1. That honestly is probably Kyler Murray, kind of dragging that down. Yeah. So take it with a grain of salt. It's kind of a weird, not an easy stat to find, but I tried to find something to compare it a little bit where we're at compared to other teams. So you will notice we're the only team, like all the teams in the top 5 are tank teams, essentially, maybe except for the Dolphins.
Oh my, yeah. I'm just looking back at last year's. I forgot about Derek Barnes. Gosh, I mean
Carlton.
Yeah, Anzalone. Yeah, he was out for. Yeah,
almost the entire linebacker room was out.
Yep. Yeah, I forget when when did McNeil get hurt? Was that like midway through?
Yeah.
Or was it okay?
It was a little towards the end, I think, but
yeah, that was kind of the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. It's like, wow, we have no one. It was the safeties, and now they're both gone. I think the craziest one for me this year is all 3 tight ends. And I know Zylstra. I think Zylstra's coming back because they just released the 2 dudes that started for us.
Rucci and Ricci.
Miffin or whatever. Yeah. Hey, they made it. I think they each got a catch too last game. So cool. Good for them. Thanks for that. But it'll be nice. I don't know what kind of shape Zylstra is going to be in, but at least I'm comfortable with him. I've seen him over the years. Be nice to have one of our 2 studs back, but
yeah, we should have Khalif back and Mahogany back. And obviously DJ Reed's been back and Dorsey's now back. So you see this list has guys who have just kind of missed some time, Davenport's back. He really hasn't done anything though, but
yeah. Do we know is
Kirby?
Yeah. I know he's practicing kind of.
Yeah. I think it's kind of the same thing as last week where he's limited practice and we'll see, I guess. If it's not now though, it's like
I know.
Well, yeah, and obviously I know he's not going to be 100%, but I feel like just having him there, ideally you would want to think that it would help out the communication potentially, and his just game knowledge of everything. So I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Limping around back there with the brace,
tried to chase Puka down.
Oh my god!
Oh jeez,
that's if Puka doesn't get suspended.
Oh, what happened?
No, I'm joking.
Oh.
Because he was live streaming in the locker room or something.
Oh, okay.
There was something going on where it was against their team rules to live stream, and so I was like, oh, maybe they need to suspend him just to make sure he knows.
Set an example.
Yeah.
I think we're good on talking about injuries. So next we've got our sponsored segment. So here we go. We got a sponsor here. Phil Niekamp, Realtor. So he's going to sponsor the next segment for us. He's a realtor with Keller Williams Harbortown. So if you live in Michigan, he serves West Michigan, Holland, Zeeland, Grand Rapids, that area, if you're not familiar. And of course, it. He's a lifelong Lions fan. So, you can trust him. He's been through the pain with us. He knows what to look out for. So if you're buying or selling a home, it's obviously one of the biggest decisions you'll make. And Phil believes it should also be a personal decision. So he's got deep local roots in the community, a heart for giving back. And, he knows that in order to move, you have to be confident. And having Phil as a realtor, will give you that confidence. So if you're buying or selling to downsize, relocating, or maybe, looking for an investment, now's a good time to have a no pressure conversation with him. So you can kind of see his contacts there, philniekamp.com. You can find him on any of your socials or give him a call, 616-577-9700. And yeah, kind of start planning out your move. So this sponsor that Phil, or this segment that Phil is sponsoring for us is our next sponsor, which is our Harrington to Hutchinson scale. And this is where we kind of give our confidence of the team. Just kind of give you guys a remembrance. Last week, Matt, you were Matthew Stafford. Jordan, you were Kendall Vildor, feeling a little rough there. I was Graham Glasgow. I was also not feeling super confident. And Zach came in with a Reggie Bush. So now that we got a win, are we feeling better, or where are we at?
Yeah, I mean, we're still kicking, right? Does Zach have a Harrington to Hutch?
No, I don't have one this week for Zach.
Okay. So I have one. I don't. Again, I feel like I don't ever love these, but just I don't know. The season's just up and down, and I never feel I can get the perfect guy, but I am gonna go with he's only had maybe 6 or 7 games with the Lions. Za'Darius Smith. So we needed the win last week, right? And that basically gives us hope, at least for the next 2 weeks. Kind of potentially saying, hey, we could lose this week. So the story for me is we have hope right now. Za'Darius coming to us last year, it gave us hope. So going against the Rams this week, I would like to think that we're going to be competitive. We can definitely lose and still kind of have some more hope for the next game. And ideally, we rattle off another win, not losing 2 in a row. So that gives us hope for yet another week. So right now, I'm hopeful for this team. And the talent's there. Z was a talented guy. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but that's my scale for the week. It's not really like high or low. It's just kind of like my gut feeling for them right now. So
that's a good one.
I'm going back a little bit, not too far. I think for me, and it's one of Matthew Stafford's buddies too, I bet. Not, maybe not someone you'd expect for him to be buddies with, but a very reliable, versatile player. He was a 6th round draft pick back in 2013. I'm going with Theo Riddick, running back Theo Riddick from Notre Dame. I enjoyed watching him play. He was electric at times, man. I would pick him up in fantasy and play him every once in a while. I think he got me through like the playoffs one year unexpectedly. Normally just like a 3rd down back, but I think he got a lot when an injury happened with whoever was a starter at that time, like Joik or something maybe. But just my feeling, I feel like we have the weapons, we have that versatility on offense and defense. We just really have to kind of put it together. And I remember the games where he would blow up, at least for like fantasy wise. I would win. He'd be like my flex player, like a 3rd down back. So I think that's kind of how I'm feeling now, kind of like we're still viewed as the underdogs, or I think a lot of people, especially for this upcoming game, they're like, the Lions, there's no way, So kind of backs against the wall, and 6th round pick coming playing versus. He had a pretty good career. I think he played. 2013. He probably was with us. They said he released him in 2019. So he had a nice career with the Lions. That's where I'm going with today.
Nice. I remember. You remember his route? I think they call it a Texas route, but he would always run that like little route out of the backfield and then cut across the middle of the field, and Stafford would just dump it off to him, and he was like unstoppable. Kind of like a super poor man Jahmyr Gibbs.
Super poor man, yeah.
So nice. I'm going to go back a little bit farther, the early 2000s. You might remember this guy. He was in the middle of our D line. He was huge. He was like 6'5", 370 pounds. Sean Rogers.
Oh.
So Sean Rogers, when he was locked in, he was dominant. He was 2-time Pro Bowler with Detroit. He did make a Pro Bowl afterwards with Cleveland. He would block a bunch of kicks. He would just kind of bust through the line, block a kick. But he was a bigger guy. He couldn't be on the field every play. There was maybe a little bit of motor concerns. He obviously wasn't like Hutchinson, who would kind of go 100% every single play. And that's kind of this team. Like, you kind of feel like when they're locked in and it's clicking, they're that Super Bowl contender team, and you kind of see glimpses of it, but it's not always there. And that's kind of what it felt like with Sean Rogers. Was when he wanted to do something, he would do it, and he was unstoppable. But yeah, at times he also kind of would vanish a little bit. And I think there was maybe some off the field issues. I can't quite remember, but he was with the Lions from 2001 to 2007. Then he went to like Cleveland and I think New Orleans, and then he retired in 2013. So that is my guy for the week.
Nice. That's a blast from the past, man. I haven't thought about him in ages.
370. That's big. That's a big boy.
He was huge. All right. Next game. Here we go. Lions at the Rams, Sunday, 4:30, prime time. I made a little change here to our offensive and defensive stats because a lot of them they're almost the same. You'll see the Lions and the Rams. There's almost no difference. But the green ones are where the Lions are a little bit better, and then the red is where they're a little bit worse. So there's really only two stats here that are much different. I was kind of surprised how similar these two teams are, actually. Lions are the better rushing team by a good amount, and then the Rams give up a lot less points. So, yeah, but offensively, the Lions, and the Rams are right there. So Stafford v. Goff, round 4. Here we go.
That's right, round 4.
Wow.
Well, I mean, Goff is 2-1, right? So,
yeah.
I mean,
2 in a row.
2 in a row. I mean, both in Detroit. Yeah, you'd want to think that Goff is going to be super motivated to get at least one win in LA, right? So, obviously, I know we beat the Chargers out in LA a year or two ago, but man, if he could rattle this one off, that would be a statement game for Jared. So, in what it comes down for, I know I mentioned it in pick'ems, but we got to potentially get into a shootout with them, get a couple turnovers, at least, maybe there's, one Stafford crazy pick. I figured about this game. I know we've talked about it where we kind of it's not a penciled in loss, but we're still alive, kind of based on the schedules if we do let this game off. But I think the only way I come out of this game sad and like not hopeful is if we get blown out by like 25 points. Like if we don't, score touchdowns and at least make it competitive, that'll hurt. But I think if, we can keep it competitive, score some points, be who we are as an offense, knowing that our defense, might give up a few things here and there, that'll be a success. And I think you can kind of build upon that, knowing that the Rams are probably one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league right now. Yeah,
I like the stats here, Troy. I appreciate that because I didn't dig too deep yet into this matchup. I know the LA, they got the young defensive line that's playing good. I think if they're vulnerable on defense, it's through the air, and then oppositely on offense, their O-line, I think there's a way to get pressure. I think I'm hoping we can get some pressure on Stafford. We know Stafford isn't the most mobile quarterback either. So hopefully, Hutch can get to him, or Muhammad. Maybe Muhammad has another big game, or they're, blitzing whenever they blitz those backers. That's nice. It's just, I think our offense definitely has to keep pace. It's going to be tough. This is going to be a really tough game on the road. There's a lot. If we can come out with a win, man, that would be a huge boost. Obviously depending also on what happens whatever else in the NFC and the North. So I'm looking forward to this one. I do feel like there's not as much pressure as a fan standpoint because everybody loves the Rams so much, and they have been. I mean, Stafford's just on the MVP favorite level right now, and he's got a good, secondary to throw more against. So we'll see. Hopefully we can make it a good game.
Yeah, it's you guys kind of hit on it. I mean, you got to get off to a good start. We kind of say that every week, probably for every game, but can't fall behind this team because I don't know if they're going to be able to get the stops when they need to. I think, though, with it in being LA, hopefully have to ask the English teacher if I use the pseudo word correctly, but it's probably going to be majority Lions fans. Like, I don't think there's, too many Rams fans in existence really. So, I mean, probably should be a pretty, friendly crowd there, which should be good. But like you said, kind of a house money game. I think, if they can win, we might be talking about it as maybe the best win of the Dan Campbell era. It'd be huge for their play. I think I was listening to a different podcast today, and it mentioned that, obviously the Lions do control their own destiny right now. If they win out, they're in 100%. But even if they go 2-2, but their wins are against the Rams and the Bears, it's like 97%, which is kind of shocking. So we kind of were talking last week. It seems like they'd have to finish 3-1 with this being their loss and then win out. So that's kind of where it's maybe a house money game. To see what happens, but you're not expecting a win. But yeah, I like how you said it, Matt. Just don't get shelled.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that of the Lions fans and just like the LA fan base in general, because the Rams came there 7-8 years ago, and I feel like the fans in LA aren't really fans of the team. They just I'm not speaking for everyone obviously, but they're not a Philadelphia, they're not a Detroit or Kansas City with just such a concentrated and high level of passion for their team. And obviously, Lions fans travel, so that'll be really cool to see. Actually, I didn't even think about that. To see a bunch of Honolulu blue in the stands will really be cool. Maybe we can get a hard count going for the Rams. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, some Jared Goff chants in LA.
Oh yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Man.
Could you
That'd be
imagine him
awesome.
taking a knee? Jared Goff.
Oh, geez. That's awesome.
I would get goosebumps.
One thing I wanted to touch on in both our shows here tonight, and I forgot till now. The Rams, can we take a real quick peek at their schedule?
I was going to mention that. Do you notice who they play after us?
Upcoming schedule?
I was looking at the past.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's go past first.
Okay. I don't have it in front of me, but when I looked over it, I feel like the hardest games for them were their divisional games. I don't know if if this is the team I'm looking at or not, but like, what are some of their other impressive wins? Because at first they were playing teams close. I think it's just recently they've been kind of blowing teams out. But in the beginning of the year, I feel like a lot of their games were close.
Yeah, so looking at their impressive wins recently, I mean, so Tampa Bay, but that's when Tampa Bay was struggling. They did beat Seattle and San Francisco. Then going back to October, they beat Jacksonville and Baltimore. They did beat the Colts early in the year, and the Texans the first game of the year, which now looks pretty good. So, it's a mix. I mean, yeah, they definitely have their Arizonas, New Orleans, Titans wins.
Yeah, but even like the Texans, the Bucks, the Ravens, those were probably, and Jags, they were probably catching them at the right time. Baltimore wasn't very threatening for a while. Neither was Texans at first, were kind of a dumpster fire. So that's all I was kind of pointing out.
Yeah, that Baltimore game was, I'm just going to see if that was without Lamar. See if I can quickly find that. Yeah, that was Cooper Rush. So they beat Baltimore with Cooper Rush.
So, you can't take too much away from them for just the way they've been playing and the hype, but that's just giving me a little bit of hope. Like with the injuries, with the coordinator changes, we've been playing some tough teams too. The North is pretty difficult. So
yeah, good call. I was thinking, upcoming schedule after they play us on Sunday night, essentially. They play Thursday at Seattle.
Ooh.
So they're going to have a short
look
week
ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. That game means a lot more.
Maybe Stafford just gives us a bone,
Yeah, why not?
I'm sure he'll give us something.
Well, let's look at the standings a little bit here. I think we've probably covered a lot of it. I don't know if either of you have done any more playoff predictor or if it's unchanged, but we see really the big news is the Bears are now at 7. We're at 8, and you just know it's coming. It's just going to be last game of the year, winner take all. My anxiety already just thinking about it makes me sick, but it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen.
I mean,
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Like where we're sitting right now, like we have to take that, right? Like, unfortunately, we all wish we could have the Minnesota game back, and that I feel like that's going to haunt us for the rest of the regular season. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I'd like our chances in that game, truthfully too. Like we would be the hot team, right?
Yeah, getting swept by the Packers really sucked too. I think that kind of was a big turning point in the season. I think Philly could have won that game. Yeah, Minnesota should have won that game. Philly, we could have won that game. And then Packers, we could have also won that game as well. I feel like you give us any one of those three or two of those three, and we're sitting real comfortable. But it's just not how it dropped this year.
Yeah. Well, so I like that you put the standing up here, and the only bummer about this weekend is like if everything plays out like it should, there's not going to be any movement because let's say the Lions lose, right? And then the Bears likely beat the Browns. The Niners will beat who is it? The Titans. The Seahawks will beat a grandpa, right? Like who's gonna lose?
Yeah.
Aside from us, unfortunately. So
right, yeah, and then like the Eagles and the Bucks, but that doesn't even really affect us.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you never know. I mean, crazy things have happened, but there might not be a whole lot of movement after this week, unfortunately.
But that's, I mean, I'm okay with that. Where it's just like it comes down to the Lions. It's in their hands now. We can't all they got to do. They just got to focus on winning. It's like whatever happens with the rest of them happens. It's crazy. The West, and then the Bears being sneaky, getting their wins. A lot of their last second wins. Very unexpected, but that makes it really tough.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it in our Pick'ems game. That Bears-Browns game could be terrible weather. Hopefully that means low scoring. Myles Garrett. You never know. Maybe the Browns help us out there.
Shedeur Sanders, maybe he balls out in the snow.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, they did us a solid against Green Bay. You never know.
True. That's
true.
True.
And plus, I guess I forgot about Green Bay. And not that, the division's really up in the air for us yet, but they're in Denver. That'll be a fun game too. So one more thing. Sorry. Speaking of playoff predictor, there is a way for us to get the 1 seed still. So watch out for that.
Wow.
Okay.
If basically 32 games go a certain way.
All right. We'll be looking out for that update.
Yeah.
Do we have to win?
Yeah, you got to win out.
Okay. At least the stock's up. At least we got to win.
Yep.
We just got to stop the roller coaster. Up and down, up and down, up and down. So, all right. Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, if you made it this long in the video, go ahead and leave some comments down below, especially if we pull off those W's. If we're eating W's on Sunday around 6:30, come back in the chat, throw some W's down. Let's go Lions.
We're going to shout out the best comment next week. Leave us something juicy. All right, go Lions.